Hey Kai, I'm recording. Can you be quiet? I'm recording. Hi everyone. Happy Halloween. So finally, I have got myself situated. I've got myself together. I wanted to come to you this Halloween and talk about some of my favorite audiobooks that I have been listening to for spooky season. Um, I have committed myself to taking time, especially on my commute, listen to a good book. Sometimes I'll learn French, sometimes um, I'll listen to more pop culture type stuff. But at the very end of the day, what I really want is a good cozy mystery. And spooky season, witch season, is to me the best time to to come in and just get cozied up with a good audiobook. I appreciate a good narrator. I appreciate a good story, but to be honest, I could be a little bit cheesy. So I do love some of the more, you know, I guess you would say more cozy, more clean um, type mystery stuff. Unless it's erotica, but we're not talking about that. We're not going there. Not on this video. But I really do enjoy a good cozy mystery. So what I decided to do for this fall season was to listen to a few really good spooky reads, and not just spooky, but books that were, kind of indicative of the season. I wanted to start off with some books that were focusing on witches. So, first of all, hi, I'm Terra. This YouTube channel is called Star Tribe Cafe, and what we're doing here is we are reading cozy mysteries, specifically culinary cozy mysteries, and we're pulling out some of the best recipes so that I could cook here in my little humble kitchen. And yeah, you know, it might not always be a full meal. Maybe it might just be a side dish that I was like, I cannot, or a drink, or just in general. One of the books, some of the books are focused on food. Some of them are actually focused on alcohol, like beer, different types of beers, wine, different types of wines. What exactly is a cozy mystery? A cozy mystery is typically, the main character is typically going to be a female. There is going to be a female lead character, essentially, who is nosy, basically a sleuth. Usually they want to get down to the bottom of stuff. They feel like some of the a lot of the books might have the main character find someone who's passed on. In other words, they find a dead body girl. And, they may or may not know the person. It may have happened in front of their coffee cart. It may have happened inside of their ice cream parlor or out front of the door of their ice cream parlor. Like there's all these different things, but sometimes it doesn't even involve anybody who's passed. or who was killed or who was murdered. Sometimes it is legit just a mystery that they're trying to solve. You know, what happened to the painting? Where could it be found? You know, just those kinds of things. Maybe there was some theft involved. They're trying to who done it. So, but typically, yes, you're going to have the female lead. It's not going to be very gory. It's not going to be a whole lot of gory details, okay? There's typically going to be a romantic tinge to it, perhaps a love interest. A lot of times they're going to be the one who get accused of the murder, even though they may not have known the person, have nothing to do with the person, but the local cops or investigator is always side-eyeing them because they found the body or what have you, or was in front of their cart, or maybe you poisoned them because it was your ice cream, you know, it was your cake that they ate. Oh, was the quiche poisoned? You know, different things like that. So, but there's always going to be, with these mysteries that I'm looking at, because they're culinary, there's always going to be this element of delicious descriptions of scrumptious food. So that's the thing that really caught me, because I remember reading a book and just going, oh my God, I can make this. This sounds so good. And a lot of cozy mysteries, at the end of the chapter, or indeed at the end of the book, they will have the recipes that they spoke about, or to the dish, some of the dishes that they spoke about during the course of the story. So that could be fun as well. Honestly, I prefer when they do it at the end of the book. I don't like when they do it at the end of the chapter. It kind of takes me out of the story, especially with a, you know, with an audiobook, having that being kind of read, it kind of chops things up in a way where it pulls you out of the story a bit, I think, personally. But that being said, currently right now on the stove, I have a homemade chicken soup with tortellini. No, I did not make the tortellini, okay? It was frozen, but it's a beautiful chicken soup. I used the most flavorful parts of the chicken, of course, the chicken thighs, but also there's celery and carrot and, you know, thyme and bay leaf I put in there, and the beautiful cheese tortellini. So I can't wait to eat that. I also have set aside here some, what is this? Is this focaccia or is it ciabatta? I think it's ciabatta. Yeah, so I got some ciabatta bread that, so I'm gonna break bread, okay? I'm gonna break bread with this soup when we're all done. It is Halloween night, and you know what? I decided, let's do this. Let's do this on Halloween night. Now, yes, I have been reading a lot of cozy mysteries, so I will partake in a little bit of sip sip. This is, look, don't judge me, okay? I know this is not a beer stein. It's a coupe, and typically it's for when I have Prosecco, which is one of my favorite things to sip on. But in this case, I don't care, okay? I like the way it looks, so we're gonna go ahead and have a little bit of that. Let me grab. Excuse me, y'all, while I get up for a second, but I think you can still see me here. But I just want a quick napkin. And you know what? The thing about this channel is I want you guys to follow me. It may not be the most production-wise. It may not be, you know, ready for Netflix, but we're definitely gonna have fun. And I do like to have a little sip from time to time. This happens to be my favorite beer, and yes, I do drink beer from time to time. I am very much a beer snob. This is a California beer brewed right in San Diego. It's Ballast Point. It's their Sculpin, which probably probably was the first IPA that I ever was like, oh my God, I like this. Actually they had a grapefruit sculpin, which really made me understand that the IPAs have these floral notes, and that hops essentially are flowers. So that's really what you're tasting like. People are like, oh, it's bitter. It is, it can be bitter, but there's also a sweetness, an earthiness, a floral, that you kind of get from it. And this ain't no skunky beer. Ballast Point to me, one of the best beers. And if you're ever in Long Beach, visit Ballast Point with your date, with somebody you care about, because it is a really beautiful spot, right on the water. And you can go with your friends as well, but it's a cute little romantic spot. It's low key, it's nonchalant, but a real nice kind of getaway. So, and of course the beer. So let's pour a little. Look at that color. And so with Star Tribe Cafe, you can see why I'm calling it cafe. With that, you know, I really want to enjoy food with you and talk about books. So I'm gonna take a sip and we're gonna get into my picks for Halloween 2023. Y'all, I'm smacking. That is so yummy. It's just so smooth. And then those floral notes hit you at the end, but it doesn't have like a traditional like beer flavor. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. It's much cleaner and brighter. Absolutely adore it. So I made some notes so that I could stay on track. And what I'll try to do is I will put out either up here or on this side an image of the cover art, because I think with audiobooks, cover art is super important. If the cover, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but you know, we're judging, okay? We're that's just, you know, human nature. We're judging the book by its cover. And especially with audiobooks. So as we're scanning through, because we can't hold the book in our hand, we can't turn the pages, we can't smell the pages. So there needs to be something about the cover art that captures our attention. And what I wanted to do for the first half of October is I wanted to focus on witches. As you can see, I'm a witch for Halloween this year. I enjoy witch lore. I enjoy it, in all its forms. So yeah, so I wanted to go with some mysteries that were witch based. So what we'll do. Oh, actually, I'm just discovering now that I need my phone so that I can read the description. So we ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna just tell you. I'm gonna cut that part out. So we're gonna start off with The House Witch, a humorous romantic fantasy. So this is book one. It's written by someone called Dalamac. And it's narrated by Matthew Wolfe. Matthew Wolfe does an absolute fantastic job. The House Witch is the story of a witch that's he's kind of trying to get away from things in his life. And he's considered a house witch because he has dominion really over hearth and home. So what that means is that anywhere he resides, where he considers home, he can influence the space. So he is a master chef. Like the food that he creates, when people put his food in their mouths, it's a personal experience. And ultimately, he's so good at understanding fundamentally, like on the soul level, what foods people need to consume at points in their lives. There was a scene one time that I thought was really cool after he gets a job working for the king and queen of this region where he lives, or that he's come to. And at a certain point, the queen, spoiler, the queen gets pregnant. Well, that's not really a spoiler. But what I thought was so interesting, this is kind of, it's a fictional world, but, there are still delineations between cultures, foods. You come from a particular region, your skin color is a particular color, just like it is here, and your foods and the produce, etc., that's available to you is going to be different, and just culturally the food is going to be different. So there was a point where the queen was just not feeling well. She was really struggling with her pregnancy, and things were just not going well for her. And everybody finds their way down into this cook's kitchen. Somehow, some way, they end up in his kitchen, and let me tell you, for whatever reason, he just has this energy that people gravitate towards, even though he didn't broke no fools. Okay, he did not suffer fools, I guess as the saying goes. But the queen came down and he had some kimchi, and it was like the first thing she did was smell it, and then it was like, it was just something in her words. She literally picked it up with her hands and just started shoving it in her mouth. It's like her gut, everything like settled. And even the baby that she was carrying, everything just settled, because there was something that she was craving that she wasn't getting in her like traditional diet. So he was really good at sussing that out. But aside from that, a lot goes on. I think it's just such a fun read. The narrator, Matthew Wolfe, is so good. He's so good, and he does. The most of the people in the story have a British sounding accent. There might be a few characters that sound more like just straight American, maybe one or two like that he kind of put in like smaller characters, from what I remember. But his familiar, who is a cat, excuse me, the beer got me, and who I would consider to be, kind of a thug ass cat. Straight up, he got a thug ass familiar, okay? And this guy, Matthew Wolfe, I don't know if it was his decision. I don't know if it was the author's decision. I don't know whose decision it was, but they decided to make the cat black, like a Black American sounding boy. When I tell you I loved it so much, at first I didn't know how to feel about it, because I was like, only the animals have a Black American voice? Like, wait, what's going on? But the thing about it is that there were like Black people in the story. They just spoke with like a British accent. And then as it went on, there was some sort of like American sounding black people in the story. Um, but I think I want to say, because I binged this whole series. It was so good. The House Witch. The House Witch, the House Witch, the House Witch. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Okay? The narration is excellent. The story is excellent. For me, 10 out of 10. Like, I went through that entire series. There are 3 books in the series. And then there are other books after that that, you know, I don't want to give it away who they're talking about in that particular series. But this particular series is the House Witch series by Della Mack. Delem. I don't know why I'm acting like I have to remember it. I have it written right here. Delemhac. Get that book. I'm telling you, you want cozy, you want a little bit of intrigue, adventure, a little mystery, and there's several mysteries to solve. And you want magic? Like, you want magic? And you want food? Oh my God. Like, there's not necessarily one dish that really stood out to me, but it was just the overall atmosphere of the kitchen. And it kind of inspired me to be in my kitchen and talk to you guys from my kitchen. So yes, I highly recommend. And I also wanted to talk about another witchy poo book called Black Candle Women. This one is written by Diane Marie Brown and is narrated by Bonnie Turpin, the incomparable Bonnie Turpin. I mean, y'all don't even know. This book is a new release. It was released in February of 2023. The cover art is absolutely stunning. I love it. And immediately I was like, oh, what is this? It's sort of a mystery. It's sort of, but it has a lot to do with the coming of age. It's a coming of age story. It's a witch story, witch to the core, type hoodoo, voodoo type vibe, but I don't even want to give you that because ultimately, really, it is just magic. Some people have even likened it to practical magic, the movie. So the writing is phenomenal. The narration is top notch. And it takes a little bit of time. I won't say it's a slow burn because that doesn't quite characterize the book, but it does take a little moment for a little bit of the character, a little bit of, I don't want to call it world building, but it kind of is that. So it takes a little time for sort of this exposition where the author is rounding out the characters for you so that you can see each of them. Each of the main women in the story are grandmother, daughter, granddaughter. So each of them have their own stories going on. The sister, the 2 sisters, and then the daughter, the mother, the grandmother. So all of them have this story and where their magic comes from. And this is just so well written. There was it's so well written. There were points where I was like, oh my God, like it really reminded me of my own life, my own childhood. Excuse me, my own childhood. there was, there was, you know, some parents have this knee-jerk reaction, especially when they see their little girls coming into their sexuality and coming of age, where of course they try to, you know, kind of like stop it, like, oh my God, no, you're going up too fast, this is going to, it's too fast. And even as a girl, you might feel like, oh, this is moving so fast, but you know, you still want to grow up. You still want to grow the boobies. You still want to wear the bra. Like you still want to do those things. But you know, you also, you know, like for your parents, and I know in my case, for my mother specifically, that was kind of like. So there's sometimes people handle this very differently. So sometimes there's some shaming tactics that go on. And so at one point, the mom says to the daughter, I think she's around, I'm gonna say she's around 15. Yeah, she's around 15. And she has a, you know, she's, doesn't have an official boyfriend, but she literally has a boyfriend, right? But her parents don't like him because apparently there's a curse on the family. And, you know, every man they fall in love with dies, okay? So the little girl is coming of age, and there's a boy that really likes her. And he's such a respectful boy, like he's so good. Until he's not, you know, that's the nature of boys and men. They're great until they're not. But the daughter comes home, and you know, she takes off her shirt. She has her bra on. She takes off her shirt, and I think she lays across the bed. And her mom, and she's daydreaming about the kiss that she just got from this boy. It's like her first kiss ever. And so she's daydreaming about the kiss, and you know, she lays across the bed and just like, you know, like daydreaming. And her mom is like in the room. She doesn't see her because she comes in and she just goes this way, and her mom is like standing there, like just peeping her out, like, mm-hmm. And the girl's like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. You know, laying up in the bed half naked. It's like, she literally has like her pants on, her bra. She just took off her shirt. It was just reminded me so much of something that my mother would say, you know, the kind of shaming tactic that happens when, you know, they're trying to get you to not grow up. It doesn't work, because growing up, you can't stop it. It's like the battle ram, for those who know. You can't stop it, baby. So, Black Candle Women. When I tell you it's worth it 1,000-fold. It is a fantastic book. It's fantastically narrated. It's, you know, uncovering a mystery. It's not really that anybody died necessarily, but it's peeling back the layers of family history. And so that, you know, this young girl who's growing into a woman could kind of see her way forward. And the grandmother to reconcile herself, the mom to reconcile herself. It's very cozy. It's not hard-edged, rough-edged at all. It's a very cozy sort of read, but with real edges to it. Not hard edges, but you know, real edges, real edges, but not, you know, hard. And then there was something else I wanted to say about Black Candle Women. One of the things that I liked about this book, the main characters, if I didn't mention it before, the main characters are Black women. But one of the things that I really liked about it is that there wasn't any real police talk, of a lot of books that I've read recently or kind of weave into this, and we might talk about it later on or in a different day. There were some other books that I read in the month of October that we could kind of look at and evaluate. But what I like that they didn't do is that they didn't have this narrative of how afraid they are of the police and how the police makes them feel so scared and afraid. And those are valid feelings. Those are very valid feelings, but those are very valid feelings. But when you hear that so often in books, and it can just really get tedious. Like every book, everybody's scared of the police, and it's like this huge part of the book where they're like stranded in fear every time. And that may be true, and it could have been true for these characters, but they didn't really emphasize that. They didn't talk about it, and it was refreshing. Okay, it was refreshing, just like this beautiful IPA. Okay, so those are two witchy books that I read that I really enjoyed. I wanted to read some witchy books, and The House Witch and Black Candle Women did not disappoint. So I would suggest run, don't walk, okay, for both of those books. Against the Current. Against the Current. This is written by Olivia Matthews, and it was narrated by Janina Edwards. Again, phenomenal narrator. Very good. And when I say that, I mean that their characters are well thought out. They're, the seamless way that they read, it's just so easy and seamless and so engaging. And Janina Edwards is one of those narrators that I absolutely love listening to. This book, Against the Current, and it's a play on words, current. When we talk current, we're talking about the like little raisin-like, what is it? I don't know. Is it a berry? I don't really know. Was it a dried berry? I'm not sure. If you guys know what a currant is, like what is it? I've tasted currants. To me, it's like, oh, it's like a raisiny type thing. I just literally had currants in a curry chicken salad. I had a chicken salad with, it was a curry chicken salad with all different kind of things. There were even golden raisins in there, but it was currants. It was mostly currants and some other, delicious green onions, etc., etc. But this, Against the Current, the main characters in this, and Janina did a really great job of this, they're from the Caribbean. So the main character opens a restaurant in her neighborhood in New York, and from day one, there's an Italian restaurant owner, not even really close to her at all, that just for whatever reason does not want her to open her bakery. They serve very different types of foods, but he was angry and adamant, and he came into her store, blah, 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 blah. They got into it. She is a person who has a background of being bullied her entire existence, through school. So, dealing with this, being a grown-up and dealing with this man who's essentially a bully coming into her store. They were about to have their the day of their grand opening, really, and just saying how you need to close, you shouldn't be here, da 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 da. And it was ongoing every time she saw him prior to that. So she had had enough. So she was just like, no, you're not going to disrespect my business and you're going to leave, basically. Or I'm going to try, something innocuous she said that other people were like, ooh, dang, she told him, how people are. And lo and behold, he ends up dead. So because that was a very public, argument, she became a suspect in his death. And so she goes through trying to find out who killed him, because all signs are pointing to her. So she's going through this. And in the meantime, this wonderful, beautiful Caribbean food is being made, but mostly pastries. So this is a bakery. So I think they had other foods, but really the focus was on, their pastries. There was a pastry with currants that was made, that was kind of their signature pastry, right? And then wonderful, beautiful, delicious descriptions of different types of foods, and a very fun storyline. To me, it was fun. It was a fun story. I really enjoyed it. I recommend, if you can listen to it, do listen to it. Another food-based murder mystery that I listened to in the month of October was the Quiche and the Dead. You see a trend here? Against the Currant, the Quiche and the Dead. A lot of these sort of cozy mystery books will have like these puns, these play on words, like the Quiche and the Dead. That used to be, that was a movie, The Quick and the Dead, right? That's based off an old Western. So in this story, it's written by Kristen Weiss, and it's narrated by a woman called Renee Chambliss, or Chambliss, for us Americans out there, Chambliss. Renee Chambliss, all right? This book was so much fun. It was so much fun. And what was more fun was listening to the descriptions of the different types of quiches that she started making. I was like, because initially she wasn't really making breakfast pies. This woman had a pie store, and essentially someone came in. She had made a breakfast pie. The guy kept calling it for like the first time. She was just trying it out. He was like, I want it. And she actually made it to give to one of her new business neighbors who had just moved in. And she was like, as a, sort of a business warming gift, she was going to give it to this lady. The lady comes in and she's a huge fitness buff. And she's like, sugar kills. Like, I can't believe you're using sugar. You don't have any, sugar-free pies. Like, what is wrong with you? And so the woman turns out to be just a little too gung-ho, a little bit off into La La Land with her disdain for, basic food. And so she doesn't give her the quiche, but the guy, one of the regulars, had been asking for it. He was like, if she doesn't want it, I'll take it, I'll buy it. Because, wow, it smells so good, it looks so good, da, da, da. So she sold it to him. He ate it. Next thing you know, dead, dropped dead, right inside. He dropped dead right inside of her bakery, right inside of the store, right inside. People were sitting, having coffee. Child, these cozy mysteries will traumatize you a little bit. I'm joking. But so that happens, and so then of course she has to clear her name, and so everything ensues from there. I will say, another fun book. This was fun. Of course, there's a love interest that develops, or that, I don't know, sort of unrequited, but you know, you kind of see what's going to happen in the subsequent books. But so it has all of the cozy mystery elements there. Culinary cozy mystery, the love interest, the part where you get blamed for it and you have to like clear your name. So yeah, the other characters in the story, very interesting. I think the narrator Renee Chambly does a wonderful job of bringing these characters really to life. And at first I wasn't so sure about it, but as I continue to listen, I would say that the pie crust maker that she's employed to come in and make the pie crusts early in the morning, she is the winner chicken dinner of the entire thing. So that being said, it is absolutely the witching hour. It's almost 12 a.m. on Halloween. So yeah, I just wanted to come to you guys. Oh, and you know what? I have one more bonus book that I wanted to share with you. It's not really a book though. It's more so like it's a vintage. It was the vintage BBC radio hour, and all I saw was Vincent Price, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to listen. I'm gonna have to give this a listen for the Halloween season. Vincent Price, classic horror films of that particular era. Michael Jackson's Thriller album, he did the voice at the end of the album. Just iconic. So I had to listen to the BBC Radio Hour. It was 3 different stories. Only one of the stories has Vincent Price in it, the story in the middle. So they start you off with one story, and then you get Vincent, and then you get another story. But all in all, I think it was good fun. But it's a radio play kind of thing. So the feel of it is different. The feel is actually a lot more reminiscent, it seems, of what Audible is heading towards. A lot more of something that just sounds like you're listening to a television show versus listening to someone reading a book. Okay, so that being said, it's kind of taken us back to the radio hour days, but good fun, so much good fun in those stories, and yeah, very nostalgic with Vincent Price. That being said, guys, that's it. That's all my recommendations that I have been wanting to put out for you guys. I have some recipe videos coming up, recipes that I have sourced from some of the cozy novels that I've been reading. Fantastic descriptions. So so follow my channel, subscribe, like it, so at least it'll show up again in your feed. And yeah, I'm gonna put together some really fun foodie videos for you guys. Food and books. What could be better? Like, oh, and of course drinks. So happy Halloween, everyone, and have an amazing year. This is a new year. Yeah, until next Halloween. Take care.